There are natives on this planet? Su Jingxing was also stunned when he saw the man in the protective suit. However, in the next second, he felt a terrifying low temperature assaulting him from the surroundings. He immediately circulated his spiritual essence and released it to envelop his entire body. With his spiritual martial arts body in the 9th class of the essence opening realm, withstanding temperatures at -40 to -50 degrees Celsius was no problem. However, the low temperature that struck just now was definitely close to -100 degrees Celsius. His physical body alone would not be able to withstand it. Only by using the spiritual essence barrier could he neutralize the terrifying low temperature around him. As for the natives here, Su Jingxing had no intention of coming into contact with them. After protecting himself with his spiritual essence, he turned around and left, stepping on the icy ground. In his soul space, the cosmic tower quickly returned and Ming appeared in his mind. Ming, where are the heavenly Tao crystals? Su Jingxing called out with his consciousness. Wait a moment, Master. Cosmic will do a search right now, Ming replied calmly. Su Jingxing strolled around the icy world as he waited. Wait. Lu Jiang took a step forward and chased after the man in front with the fastest speed possible in his mechanical exoskeleton. His eyes were burning and his heart raced. He could walk at -98 degrees Celsius without wearing protective clothing. Who is this person? Who is he? No matter who, the other party was definitely not simple. Lu Jiang had a feeling that if he didn't stop the other party and missed this opportunity, he would live in endless regret for the rest of his life. He had to seize this chance. No matter what, he had to grip on tightly and bring this unknown man who had suddenly appeared to meet the team leader. Wait. Strange cracking sounds came from the snow. Lu Jiang shouted as he gave chase with all his might. The shouts of his teammates came through the earpiece. Old Lu, what's wrong? Wait for what? Lu Jiang, did you take the wrong medicine? I say, Lu Jiang, can you not King scare us? Lu Jiang, who was running, did not respond. He only stared at the man in front of him through the goggles of his helmet without blinking and slowly closed the distance between them. Lu Jiang, what are you doing? Why did you leave the team all of a sudden and go to the periphery? Do you want to die? A curse sounded in his earpiece. Lu Jiang still ignored it and continued to give chase. However, no matter how hard he tried, he could not catch up to the other party. As for shouting, there was no external loudspeaker in his helmet. No matter how loud Lu Jiang shouted, his voice could not be heard. Remove the helmet. In a few seconds, Lu Jiang would freeze to death. What should I do? Lu Jiang was extremely anxious. In his impatience, he did not notice a shallow pit. With a plop, he fell to the icy ground and slid a few meters away. Lu Jiang, what's wrong? Hurry up and reply. An anxious shout came from his earpiece. D***, Han Lei, Wang Qian, go to Lu Jiang and see what happened to him. Yes, team leader. Understood. A few consecutive voices entered his ears. The anxious Lu Jiang then quickly replied, there's no need to come over. You don't have to. No, come over quickly. I have someone here. He's walking outside. He's very powerful, very powerful. Team leader, come over quickly. Lu Jiang, what nonsense are you spouting? Who is very powerful? It's true, team leader. This person suddenly appeared. He's not wearing any protective gear and is only wearing an ordinary shirt and pants. He can walk on the ground safely. The surrounding cold air is immediately repelled once it gets close to him. It's as if he's wearing transparent protective gear, Lu Jiang exclaimed excitedly. This person is definitely not simple. He might be an outsider from another planet. Enough. A deep voice sounded in his earpiece. Lu Jiang, you're tired. Rest immediately. I order you to close your eyes and rest immediately. No, team leader, I'm not crazy. I'm in good spirits. I'm not abnormal, Lu Jiang shouted anxiously. Listen to me. If we can build a relationship with this person, perhaps. Ah! A scream sounded in his earpiece. The next moment, the sound of machine guns firing could be heard. Accompanying it was a low growl. Team leader, we have been attacked by ice devils. Wang Qian's mechanical arm was torn off. Beast, get lost, get lost. Tuck tuck tuck. Gunshots erupted, breaking the silence and echoing in the surroundings. Lu Jiang immediately stopped talking. He swallowed his words and quickly got up. After getting up, he looked up and saw that the man who had been walking in front had disappeared. Su Jingxing, who was strolling, had no intention of giving any attention to the native chasing behind him. Suddenly, he heard gunshots and a beast-like growl. He then stopped and listened. Then, with a flash, he flew to the right at lightning speed. After running for less than 5 miles, he saw 3 snow-white beasts that resembled rats but with 3 tails and thick limbs like wolf claws attacking 2 people in protective suits. One of them had already fallen to the ground with an arm. No, it was probably a mechanical arm. It was twisted at 90 degrees, and sparks flew from the broken parts. The person's other hand held a wide firearm and fired at the 3 mutated beasts with his companions, trying to kill or drive them away. As Su Jingxing glanced around, the 3 mutated beasts that were attacking crazily suddenly turned their heads in unison and looked at Su Jingxing. Then, swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. They were very fast. As they ran, they brought with them a gust of cold wind and snow. In the blink of an eye, the 3 mutated beasts were less than 100 meters away. Roar! One of them opened its huge mouth full of sharp teeth and bit towards Su Jingxing's head. Bang! A strange sound. Bam! Bam! 2 more strange sounds followed. Su Jingxing stood rooted to the ground, he did not move the slightest inch. However, the heads of the 3 mutated beasts exploded into pieces. Their headless bodies fell to the ice and remained motionless. Dead? No, they're not dead. There's still energy surging. Su Jingxing, who had casually killed the mutated beasts, sensed the corpses and discovered that there was a strange aura slowly spinning in the remaining bodies of the 3 mutated beasts. Under this aura, the headless corpses of the mutated beasts actually slowly melted bit by bit. In less than 5 minutes, the mutated beasts that were about the size of a wolf each melted into the snow and disappeared. Interesting. Su Jingxing raised his eyebrows and looked at the messy but snow-covered ground. His eyes filled with surprise. There is something wrong with these 3 mutated beasts. There is also something wrong with this planet. Circulating the 6 comets records and sensing the heavenly secrets, Su Jingxing realized that although there were very few heavenly secrets here, they were very chaotic. It was like a fishing net. Although there weren't many lines, they were entangled with each other, and the center was an entire tangled mess. Su Jingxing tried to sense deeper. Suddenly, he perked up and his consciousness returned. It was ejected. The depths of the heavenly secrets of this planet seemed to be restrained, forcefully pushing back Su Jingxing's consciousness. No wonder there are heavenly Tao crystals. This planet is not simple. Su Jingxing pondered. Suddenly, he put away his thoughts and turned to look behind him. A group of 9 men and women in protective suits were slowly approaching. One of the men had a mechanical arm bent and crippled. Although the face of the man in the helmet was pale from the pain, his eyes, like the others, were filled with shock, horror, disbelief, and passion as he stared at Su Jingxing. Team leader, do you see that? I'm not crazy. There really is such a person. Lu Jiang shouted excitedly into the walkie-talkie, look, he's only wearing thin clothes. Yet the low temperature around him won't cause him any harm, How is this possible? How is this possible? How did he do it? That's right. Is he still human? Even head instructor Zhao can't walk on the surface in only a single piece of clothing. Team leader, quickly think of a way to communicate with this person. Old Lu is right. This person is very, very powerful. If we can establish ties with him, perhaps all of us will be saved. Stop shouting. He saved old Wang and me. If the ice devils hadn't suddenly run towards him and were easily killed by him, old Wang and I would be dead by now. Everyone, stop for a moment. He's looking over, he's looking over. Sensing Su Jingxing's gaze, the 9 people, including Lu Jiang, immediately shut up. They spread their hands and squeezed out stiff, happy, or excited smiles. Su Jingxing didn't say anything either. He scanned the 9 people one by one. He confirmed that these 9 people all had a powerful aura in their bodies. Well, powerful was relative to ordinary people. If he really had to categorize them, they would be at the level of 7th grade martial artists. There were 9 people, 7 men and 2 women. One older one was in the 30s, while the others were in their 20s. The protective suit they were wearing was equipped with a mechanical exoskeleton. It was very thick and heavy. Ordinary people wouldn't even be able to walk, let alone run in it. In other words, these 9 people are local martial artists on this planet. As Su Jingxing pondered, he saw a young man among the 9 people suddenly gesture at him. The mouth in the helmet kept opening and closing as he spoke. Before Su Jingxing could read his lips, the oldest man suddenly took 2 steps forward and faced Su Jingxing. With a thud, he dropped onto one knee on the icy ground. Su Jingxing was puzzled. Lu Jiang and the others were also stunned. However, in the next moment, the 8 others immediately followed and also knelt down on one knee. What is going on? Kneeling down to thank him. While feeling surprised, Su Jingxing saw the oldest man shouting something. Immediately, he sent a mental voice transmission. What did you just call me? Wang Peifeng's body trembled. His mouth fell open in shock. However, immediately after, he looked at Su Jingxing excitedly and shouted, "Is it the perfected one talking to me?" "It's me." Su Jingxing replied calmly, "You don't have to say anything. Just think it in your mind." With the enhancement of soul power, his will could penetrate the other party's mind and listen to their thoughts. Such an ability was already achievable by the martial art true intent of a 2nd grade martial artist. All right. As expected of a perfected one. Wang Peifeng thought to himself and replied excitedly, "My name is Wang Peifeng. Greetings, perfected one. Thank you for saving the lives of my 2 teammates. That's a small matter. But what's with perfected one? Why are you calling me a perfected one?" Su Jingxing asked 3 consecutive questions. "Perfected one, this is the first time I've seen an expert like you. As for the origin of perfected one, it came from the ancient legends of the sea star." Wang Peifeng replied excitedly, "In the ancient legends of sea star, there are cultivators who can fly in the sky and burrow into the ground. They can overturn rivers and seas, chase after stars and moons. Such experts are collectively called perfected ones, and we are just mortals." "I see." Su Jingxing pondered. "What's going on with your planet? When did it become like this?" "It's a long story." Wang Peifeng sighed. Then, he probed, "If you're not in a hurry, why don't you come to our vehicle and I'll explain in detail." "Sure." Su Jingxing nodded and agreed. Through the cosmic tower, Ming had already found the exact location of the heavenly Tao crystals. However, the secrets of this planet piqued Su Jingxing's interest. He was in no hurry to search for the crystals. In any case, the heavenly Tao crystals had been there for an unknown period of time. A few minutes wouldn't make a difference. Thank you. Hearing this, Wang Peifeng stood up excitedly and said, "Everyone, get up quickly and return to the vehicle. Ah, he's leaving just like that? That won't do, team leader. How can we give up just like that? This expert is definitely not simple. We have to bring him back to the underground city no matter what. If he can help us, we might be able to leave this place, Lu Jiang shouted indignantly. That's right, team leader. Since the other party was able to save old Wang and old Han, it means that he isn't a vicious person. Shut up. Wang Peifeng suppressed his excitement and shouted in a low voice, get up. The perfected one has said that he's willing to come to the vehicle and talk to us in detail. Huh? Really? When did he agree? I didn't hear the expert speak just now. I didn't see him open his mouth either. When Lu Jiang and the others heard this, they stood up, feeling puzzled and curious. Wang Peifeng did not explain. He only turned his head and smiled awkwardly at Su Jingxing. Then, he led the way. Although Lu Jiang and company were extremely curious, they did not dare to speak under Wang Peifeng's orders. They only turned to glance at Su Jingxing from time to time. He was clearly walking on 2 feet, but he could easily keep up with their mechanical exoskeletons. It was as if the terrifying cold air did not exist to him. The ice and snow melted automatically when they got close to his body. TSS. Old Han, did you guys notice? There are no footprints on the ground he walked on. He's actually walking in the air. As they traveled, a person's exclamation suddenly sounded in the earpiece. F***CK, it's true. Amazing, really amazing. Is this the legendary Traceless on Snow? Lu Jiang and company became lively again, shouting into their earpieces. Shut up. Wang Peifeng's face turned green. As he cursed, he did not dare to look at Su Jingxing. Shut up, all of you. Anyone who says another word will be punished according to 3rd-grade military law. Instantly, there was silence in the earpiece. Lu Jiang and the others quickly shut up and looked ahead. Roar. A beast roar suddenly sounded. Lu Jiang and the others perked up as they walked. They quickly picked up their respective weapons and scanned their surroundings. Soon, 5 strange mutated beasts that they had seen before appeared on their right. Swish. 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 Snowflakes flew and ice fragments danced. As the 5 mutated beasts ran, their sharp claws tore through the ground, bringing with them a strong wind and scattering snow. Amidst the shrill whistling, they dashed towards the crowd. Fire. Bang. 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 Wang Peifeng was about to give the order to shoot freely when he heard a series of explosions. Then, the heads of 5 running ice devils exploded in his vision. The headless bodies fell to the ground and slowly melted. This, Wang Peifeng was dumbfounded. The others were also wide-eyed with shock. Only Han Lei and Wang Qian shouted excitedly. See that, everyone? When we were attacked by the ice devils just now, the expert also killed them like this from a distance. Visit myboxnovel.com to read, please. You guys didn't believe us before, but do you believe now? When an expert makes a move, it's silent but powerful. If we shoot these ice devils with our guns, it's impossible to break their defense without dozens of shots, but an expert can kill them in one move. Wang Qian and Han Lei shouted excitedly in the earpieces. The eyes of Wang Peifeng and the others lit up as they listened, and their breathing quickened. Continue. Continue forward. Suppressing his excitement, Wang Peifeng called for everyone to continue on their way. Then, he gave his thanks in his mind. Thank you for your help, perfected one. It's just a matter of convenience. There's no need to speak more about it, Su Jingxing replied coolly through a mental voice transmission. When Wang Peifeng heard this, he did not continue to respond. Suppressing his excitement, he walked in front. The group was not far from the vehicle to begin with. After circling around a frozen mound, they arrived at their destination. A tall armored transport vehicle was parked quietly on the icy ground. When Wang Peifeng and company appeared, reports sounded in their earpieces. The person speaking was a team member who had stayed behind to guard the vehicle. When he saw Wang Peifeng and company, he quickly greeted them. Wang Peifeng responded as he led the team back to the vehicle. Su Jingxing followed them into the carriage. He realized that the temperature inside and outside the vehicle was vastly different. It was actually about 5 to 6 degrees Celsius inside. As soon as Wang Peifeng and the others got in, they immediately took off their helmets. Team leader, this is. The man and woman who had stayed behind in the vehicle had not moved since Su Jingxing got in. They quickly asked Wang Peifeng as he removed his helmet. This is a cultivation expert from outer space. Wang Peifeng's expression became serious and he introduced them to Su Jingxing. Perfected one, this is Han Lei, this is Wang Qian, this is Lu Jiang. At the end, he said in a low voice, the 11 of us are the garrison of the underground city, the last team of the Third Army. The last? Asked Su Jingxing coolly, ignoring the gazes of Han Lei and the others. Wang Peifeng and the others spoke the human language. Although there were some differences in dialects, it was not difficult to understand. Su Jingxing's language was perfectly identical as soon as he accented less. While Lu Jiang was agitated, his face was also filled with excitement. Perfected one, you speak the same language as we do. The common language is basically the same for all humans. Su Jingxing glanced at him. Then, without waiting for Lu Jiang to speak again, he asked Wang Peifeng, what's with being the last team? You've seen, perfected one. On the way back, we encountered those snow-white monsters. We call them ice devils. More than 100 years ago, such monsters suddenly appeared and hunted our members who went to the surface to patrol, search for resources, observe the situation, and so on. Wang Peifeng explained seriously, the Third Army that I'm in was slowly wiped out by the ice devils under such circumstances, leaving only our team behind. The battle with the greatest casualties was when the ice devils discovered the entrance to the underground city. Everyone from the Third Army was mobilized to fight the ice devils outside the entrance. In the end, although all the ice devils were wiped out, the Third Army was also crippled and never recovered. At this point, Wang Peifeng became depressed. Han Lei, Lu Jiang, and the others also lowered their heads. The atmosphere was somber. What's going on with the ice devil? Have you guys captured and studied them before? Su Jingxing asked calmly. Yes. Wang Peifeng nodded and regained his composure. Decades ago, we the northeastern underground city did and brought them back for research. However, these monsters are very strange. They died as soon as they entered the underground city and turned into a pool of snow water. It seems that they can only survive on the surface. They die once the temperature rises. Su Jingxing was surprised. No wonder they were called ice devils. He wondered how they were born. Of course, just because the ice devils could not enter the underground city did not mean that Wang Peifeng and the others did not have to bother about the entrance. This was because the resources in the underground city were limited. Although the surface was covered in thick snow, the resources were still there. If the underground city was left to be sealed off by the ice devils, Lu Jiang and company definitely would not live for long. For this reason, Lu Jiang and the others rose to resist after the ice demons discovered the entrance to the lower city. Su Jingxing didn't ask this question and instantly thought of the reason. They didn't know the origin of the ice devils, nor had they studied them before. To figure out the source, they just kept delaying things. Su Jingxing thought for a moment and did not probe further. He gestured for Wang Peifeng to explain something else. Why was the sea star frozen and moving in the universe? We have to start from more than 1,000 years ago. Wang Peifeng picked up the glass of water beside him, took a sip, and slowly explained. 1037 years ago, on that day, everyone saw the sun in the sky being suddenly shot and penetrated by an arrow that came from the depths of the starry sky. Shooting the sun. Such a shocking thing actually happened. The sun in the sky was destroyed by an arrow shot from the starry sky. Resisting the urge to mock, Su Jingxing calmed himself down and continued to listen. Wang Peifeng's voice was trembling. On that day, everyone on Sea Star was dumbfounded. Although the blue light arrow that struck the sun quickly disappeared and the sun did not explode, in less than a year after, the sun quickly stopped burning. As a result, the starfish first stopped spinning and suffered countless casualties. Then, floods, earthquakes, tsunamis, all kinds of natural disasters erupted, and countless more died. After stabilizing with much difficulty, the global population of 10 billion was reduced to less than 2 billion. Without the sun, the 2 billion odd people won't live long either. In order to ensure the survival of future generations, our ancestors thought of all kinds of methods. Some built spaceships, some built underground cities, and some researched artificial suns. Some people did build small spaceships to escape the star sea. More than 10 underground cities were also built. The artificial suns were also successful, but they exploded in a few months. Humans can't hide in the underground city forever, yet the surface will always be cold and dark. Civilization will be wiped out sooner or later. For this, a talented ancestor thought of a way from an ancient book. Push the starfish to go to other galaxies with suns and find a new home. This ancestor found an ancient and powerful array formation in the ancient records, the 12 Almighty's Blood Cosmic Array. If this array formation can be activated, it will automatically absorb cosmic energy as its driving force and push Sea Star to fly in the universe. That ancestor first convinced most of the leaders at that time, then led people to try hundreds of times before finally successfully opening the array formation. However, if we want to push Sea Star, the range of the 12 Almighty's Blood Cosmic Array has to be very large, at least 10,000 miles. The size of the array formation is secondary. The key is, to activate such a large-scale array, the blood sacrifice required. Blood sacrifice? Su Jingxing interrupted. Blood sacrifice is required to activate the array formation. Why yes. Wang Peifeng's voice was trembling. Han Lei and the others were also shaking. The 12 Almighty's Blood Cosmic Array is an ancient demonic array. It is indeed powerful, but opening it requires blood sacrifice, and it has to be human blood. The effects of the blood of other beasts are too poor, and the chances of success are too low. Using human blood has a 100% success rate. To push Sea Star to move in the universe, 13 of the 12 Almighty's Blood Cosmic Array is required. To open each array formation, 100 million people have to be sacrificed. At this point, Wang Peifeng's tears fell silently. Lu Jiang, Han Lei, and the others were trembling, their eyes were also filled with tears. The 3 female team members were sobbing uncontrollably. Even Su Jingxing was shocked to the core. 112 Almighty's Blood Cosmic Array sacrificed 100 million people. 13 array formations, a blood sacrifice of 1.3 billion people. 90% of the people who survived on Sea Star actually died in the blood sacrifice. 1.3 billion people. This was 1.3 billion humans, not 1.3 billion chickens and ducks. It was shocking to think that so many people were willing to go to their deaths. Basically, only one person from each family could survive. Draw lots. Such matters could not be decided by drawing lots, and no one would be willing. They could only do so voluntarily. Of course, Wang Peifeng and the others did not know the exact details, nor did they want to know. In any case, since they were born and alive, and Sea Star had been moving in the universe for more than 1,000 years, it meant that 1.3 billion people had indeed been sacrificed. No. All of a sudden, Su Jingxing raised his eyebrows. A thought struck him, and his eyes lit up. He broke the silence and said, I didn't sense any energy wrapped around this planet. The 1312 Almighty's blood cosmic array are already gone. Why yes. Wang Peifeng took a deep breath and replied, the 12 Almighty's blood cosmic array stopped operating more than 30 years ago. We tried to repair them, but we failed. The reason why C-star can continue to move is because of inertia. The inertia allowed it to continue drifting for more than 30 years. Are you sure? Su Jingxing asked calmly. Wang Peifeng was speechless. Lu Jiang, Han Lei, and the others were also at a loss for words. That's right. Although inertia was present, how could it have allowed the planet to drift for more than 30 years? Most importantly, during these 30 years, no, it might not be just 30 years, but hundreds of years. During these hundreds of years, C-star had never been captured by other planets during its drift? Su Jingxing continued to ask. Wang Peifeng remained muted. C-star had been moving for more than 1,000 years. Perhaps its trajectory had already been set early in its journey. C-star only needed to drift along the route. However, in the subsequent centuries, the probability of it deviating from the route was too high. The probability of C-star being captured by other planets during its flight was also very high. In the end, after more than 1,000 years, C-star was safe and sound. It continued to drift and did not encounter any capture. What was going on? C-star sure has a lot of secrets. Su Jingxing sighed as he pondered. Wang Peifeng opened his mouth but did not know what to say. Well, does Perfected One suspect that C-star has other secrets? Lu Jiang couldn't help but ask. The reason why the C-star can move isn't because of the 12 Almighty's blood cosmic arrays. And 1.3 billion people didn't die back then. That's not right, Han Lei continued. We've all been to a ruin of the 12 Almighty's blood cosmic array. It was indeed huge and unbelievable. This means that the array formation really existed before. It's impossible for it to be fake. C-star has been drifting for so many years. How can it remain safe and sound all this time? Not even a meteorite impact occurred, countered Lu Jiang. Well, Han Lei was speechless. There's a secret. Hee, I didn't expect our C-star to have such a big secret. Lu Jiang became inexplicably excited. If it weren't for the Perfected One's reminder, we probably wouldn't have thought that there might be other reasons as to why C-star could move. Back then, 1.3 billion people might not have died for the sake of the 12 Almighty's blood cosmic arrays. It's fine for you to say this here, but don't blurt it when we return to the underground city. Wang Peifeng glared at him. No matter what the truth was back then, the deeds left behind in the underground city were that 1.3 billion martyrs had willingly died for their descendants. These 1.3 billion people were more than noble. Lu Jiang's words were blasphemy and an insult to the martyrs. If others heard them, they wouldn't be able to atone for their crimes even if they were beaten to death. It was a slip of the tongue. Lu Jiang returned to his senses and laughed awkwardly, not daring to speak again. Su Jingxing also smiled and did not continue. The truth was important, but it wasn't important either. If C-star continues to drift now, how far are you from the galaxy you're going to? Su Jingxing asked. Su Jingxing had detected C-star through the cosmic tower on Earth Star. It was very close to Earth Star. To be honest, I don't know. Wang Peifeng replied in a low voice, now that we're on the surface, we're basically mainly patrolling and scouting. Very few people pay attention to the route of C-star now. At this point, Wang Peifeng recalled his initial goal. He looked up at Su Jingxing and said hopefully, I wonder if you can bring us away from the C-star. We are willing to pay any price, even if it means becoming a slave. From now on, our lives belong to you. Wang Peifeng's expression was solemn. Lu Jiang was also solemn, while Han Lei and the others were dumbfounded. Leave Sea Star. Sell themselves as slaves. What use do I have for your lives? Su Jingxing chuckled. Hearing this, Wang Peifeng bowed his head, his face filled with desolation. Lu Jian also sighed. Su Jingxing was unwilling, as expected. Yes, why should he save them? Given Su Jingxing's powerful divine power, it allowed him to shuttle through space and walk freely in the environment of -100 degrees Celsius. What do the fates of these people he met for the first time mean to him? Why should he help them? Slaves. Given Su Jingxing's strength, would he lack slaves? To put it bluntly, they were not qualified to be slaves. The atmosphere fell silent. Wang Peifeng, Lu Jiang, and the others were silent. It wasn't appropriate for Su Jingxing to say anything to help them. How? He had come to see Star through the instant space ability of the Cosmic Tower. Instant space could only take 3 people at once. And instant space could only be activated 3 times. He had used it once on the 7 Luminaries planet, and this was the second time. For the last time, Su Jingxing could take 2 people with him on the last try. Who would he choose? Putting aside the people in the underground city, just Wang Peifeng and company alone were difficult to choose from. Of course, after obtaining the heavenly Tao crystals, the number of times instant space could be activated would increase, but no matter how much it increased, it was impossible to take everyone away. At that time, he would still have to make a choice. Su Jingxing hated making such a choice the most. Wang Peifeng and company were born on Sea Star and grew up here. They were already natives. If they continued to stay, the threat on the surface would still exist. If Su Jingxing really wanted to help, he would at most help them deal with the mutated beasts called the Ice Devils. Wait. It seems like the second level of the Cosmic Tower can accommodate many people. Su Jingxing recalled the uniqueness of divine refinement on the second level of the tower and asked Ming in his mind. Ming, how many people can exist in the second level of the Cosmic Tower at the same time? I'm referring to when it's instant space. 10 at most, Master, Ming replied quickly. 10. Su Jingxing was surprised. Didn't you say that the divine refinement can be done by 1,000 people at once? Why? Master, divine refinement is different from instant space. The limit to the number of people is different. Ming replied calmly, instant space involves spatial power, and the Cosmic Tower is not a complete spatial treasure. Got it. Su Jingxing understood and did not probe further. 10 slots at most would not work either. It was even better not to mention it. It would give people hope, cut off hope, and be even more demoralizing. Of course, if Su Jingxing had a large number of cosmic bags, that would be another matter. Unfortunately, there were only a few cosmic bags left. At this thought, Su Jingxing said softly, things here are quite mysterious here. If I have the chance, I'll come again. Before that, I'll try to find a spatial treasure, the kind that can store all of you and take everyone away together. I'm sorry, but my abilities are limited to do so right now. It's fine, it's fine. We were brusque. We're already very grateful that you have such intentions. Wang Peifeng squeezed out a smile. Regardless of whether Su Jingxing was telling the truth or not, they were indeed very grateful that he was willing to provide an explanation. Otherwise, even if Su Jingxing directly refused, what could they do about it? In the ancient legends of the Star Sea, the flying perfected ones were immortal figures. Even mortal emperors had to kneel and kowtow to them. Su Jingxing was already being very respectful by explaining the situation to them. I can't bring you people with me, but I can try to find the source of the ice devils encountered previously and see if I can completely destroy it, Su Jingxing said in a low voice. Really? Wang Peifeng was overjoyed. Lu Jiang, Han Lei, and the others were also delighted. Thank you, Perfected One. Thank you, Perfected One. The group quickly thanked Su Jingxing. If the ice devils were completely wiped out, the threat to them would immediately be halved. Don't thank me too early. Su Jingxing stood up and said calmly, the ice devils are strange and extraordinary. I can only say that I'll try my best to take care of them. Understood, understood. Perfected One, we don't know how to thank you for being willing to help, Wang Peifeng sighed. That's it then. Su Jingxing nodded and bade farewell. We'll meet again if there's a chance. All right, said Wang Peifeng as he opened the exit of the armored vehicle. Su Jingxing took the opportunity to walk out and return to the icy ground. This time, he did not step on the snow and walk in the air. Instead, he directly soared into the air and flew into the distance. In an instant, it disappeared. In the car, Wang Peifeng, Lu Jiang, Han Lei, and the others were dumbfounded. After a while, Lu Jiang murmured, do you think he will come back? I don't know, Wang Peifeng replied in a low voice. Intuitively, I think so. Intuition? Han Lei smiled bitterly and shook his head. Instead of answering, he changed the topic. The expert said he'll find a spatial divine weapon that can store everyone. There are nearly 300,000 people in the underground city. Speaking of which, is there such a divine weapon? I think so. Since he said he'll search for it, it's obvious that such a divine weapon exists. You said it's a divine weapon. Since it's a divine weapon, how can it be so easy to find? If the Perfected One really obtains such a divine weapon, wouldn't we have a chance to leave this place? Wake up, it's not completely dark yet. Whoosh! 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 In the vast icy world, Su Jingxing flew through the air and rushed towards the location that Ming had found. When he arrived at his destination, it was at the top of a frozen mountain that was thousands of meters tall. Master, the heavenly Tao crystals are here, Ming introduced in his mind. Master only needs to release the cosmic to collect them. Without another word, Su Jingxing released the cosmic tower from his soul space. Hoo-hoo! A tall tower appeared out of thin air, surrounded by snow. Buzz! As soon as the cosmic tower appeared, it caused the air to fluctuate and ripples to appear. In the next moment, under Su Jingxing's surprised gaze, layers of light lit up from below and moved upwards, drowning the tower like a golden veil. When the entire cosmic tower was enveloped in golden light. Boom! A loud bang suddenly sounded from the sky. The mountain beneath Su Jingxing's feet shook violently, as if there was an earthquake. Swish! 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 3 balls of faint golden light quickly shot out from the bottom of the mountain. They passed through the mountain invisibly and arrived in the air. They entered the cosmic tower and disappeared. The moment the cosmic tower absorbed them, Su Jingxing suddenly sensed a huge force of will covering him from afar. Master, there's an expert. Ming shouted in his mind. Let's go. Su Jingxing put away the cosmic tower without another word. Far away on Earth Star, Su Jingxing's essence soul took out the cosmic tower and opened the teleportation passageway. Swish! Su Jingxing entered the open void passageway and disappeared. Almost a second after Su Jingxing disappeared. Boom! An incomparably terrifying force of will descended from the sky and crushed the frozen mountain that was thousands of meters tall. The huge mountain held on for less than 5 seconds before it completely disintegrated, turning into countless pieces of rock that scattered in the air. Earth Star. Unation's void world territory. The alarm bells in Su Jingxing's heart only stopped ringing after a while. There's indeed something wrong with Sea Star. As soon as the heavenly Tao crystals were taken away, a meditation realm expert. No, it was even stronger than the meditation realm. The will of an expert in the seeking realm had quickly descended. What is an expert of this level trying to do by hiding on Sea Star? What does the shooting of the sun have to do with him? Su Jingxing couldn't help but be interested. He might have died earlier if he had acted a second later. Initially, he wanted to deduce where the source of the ice devils was and go over to take care of it. However, collecting the heavenly Tao crystals drew a hidden expert out into the open. The other party had been lying low on C Star for more than 1,000 years. There was definitely a conspiracy. Ming, how many times can the fourth level of cosmic be used with the heavenly Tao crystals we collected this time? Asked Su Jingxing, calming down. Master, we collected 3 heavenly Tao crystals this time. Each of them can be used 5 times, Ming quickly replied. 3 heavenly Tao crystals, 5 uses per piece. That makes 15 uses. Su Jingxing said happily, for these 15 uses, can I distribute them to the abilities on each level at will? Yes, Ming replied. Very good. Su Jingxing clapped his hands in happiness. With 15 random distribution opportunities, there was finally no need to be calculative. Out of the 4 levels, the abilities of each level could be used 3 to 4 times. Su Jingxing had agreed to help keep an eye out for spatial divine weapons, and he could use the power of heavenly divination to do so. However, the probability of such a divine weapon existing on Earth Star was too low. It wouldn't be too late to divine when he reached the 7 luminaries planet or the space outside. As for the hidden expert on C Star, Su Jingxing had no intention of getting into contact with him. Right now, it was more important to figure out why the barbarian god had invaded the U-Nation. Heavenly divination had been used too many times. However, Su Jingxing planned to personally ask the barbarian gods about the reason for their invasion of the U-Nation. If they refused to cooperate, he would carry out heavenly divination. If they cooperated, it would save him 1 use of heavenly divination. He made up his mind. Su Jingxing's essence soul continued to guard the void world. The main body left the void world and descended into the sky above Sunset Cliff in the U-Nation's Luori prefecture. Then, he headed straight for the boundless mountain range. Su Jingxing released his perception. As he flew, he sensed for the barbarians' whereabouts. Soon, he found a barbarian gathering place. Unfortunately, there weren't many barbarians here, only a few thousand. Instead of landing, Su Jingxing executed the meteor fist and threw a punch. Driven by spiritual essence, the fist imprint struck the area like a meteor. The barbarians inside did not even let out a few screams before they were all dead. Card +3, 130. He extracted a bunch of function cards. Su Jingxing continued to sense and flew towards the other barbarian gathering places. This time, he found a tribe with more than 100,000 barbarians. Without another word, he landed a punch. Roar! Space trembled and the roars were like thunder. Almost at the same time, a blood energy rainbow rushed over at lightning speed from Su Jingxing's right and blocked the meteor fist imprint. Bang! A small portion of the meteor fist imprint dissipated, and the blood energy rainbow disintegrated into nothingness. The fist imprint continued downwards and struck the center of the tribe. Boom! Boom! The ground collapsed, shaking. The area where the barbarian tribe was located, along with the periphery, was destroyed by the meteor fist imprint and turned into ruins. Card +112, 034. An extraction notification flashed past. Only then did Su Jingxing turn to look at the barbarian who had intercepted his attack. In the end, the latter turned around and ran without saying anything. Transcendent Grade Barbarian? Are all Transcendent Grade Barbarians so sensible? Su Jingxing chuckled and easily followed behind. The killing of the barbarian tribes was not to extract cards, but to force out the Transcendent Grade Barbarians. Then, he would interrogate the Transcendent Grade Barbarians and find the barbarian gods. Now that this Transcendent Grade Barbarian was so cooperative, Su Jingxing was naturally happy. With a tribe destroyed, the direction in which the Transcendent Grade Barbarian turned to escape towards was certainly where the barbarian gods were. Of course, even if it went somewhere else to hide, it would be fine. At most, Su Jingxing would waste some time. Therefore, Su Jingxing followed behind unhurriedly. The transcendent grade barbarian in front naturally sensed Su Jingxing's aura. In its fear, it decisively sped up and charged towards the temples. The temples, where the barbarian gods lived, were built very tall and majestic. 5 barbarian gods meant a total of 5 temples. Every temple was equally spectacular, located at the top of a 10,000-meter mountain. A sea of clouds surrounded them, and ice and snow fell. From afar, they looked like heavenly palaces, mysterious, magnificent, and fascinating. Su Jingxing chased after the transcendent grade barbarian. From afar, he saw a wisp of golden light appear on the horizon. As the distance between them closed, the golden light grew bigger and wider. In the end, most of the temple buildings were revealed. They were dazzling with golden light. The entire architecture seemed to stand in the sea of clouds, ethereal and sacred. Swoosh! The fleeing transcendent grade barbarian flew across the sea of clouds and rushed into a temple. Su Jingxing was in no hurry and slowly approached. Swoosh! Swoosh! Soon, more than 10 figures soared into the sky from the temple and looked in Su Jingxing's direction. All of them were 4 to 5 meters tall, with dense auras and baneful aura. It's him. There's something wrong with this human. He's very powerful. He specially came for us. The fleeing transcendent grade barbarian pointed at Su Jingxing and said quickly. Humph. How dare you come to the temples alone? You're courting death. Another transcendent grade barbarian growled and condensed its blood energy to release it towards Su Jingxing. The thick river of blood energy tore through the clouds like a furious dragon and arrived in front of Su Jingxing. Bang! Su Jingxing raised his hand and shattered it. Then, he quickly threw 3 punches at the dozen or so transcendent grade barbarians. Hoo! They were even faster and fiercer than the river of blood energy. The transcendent grade barbarians in the air only felt their vision blur before they were struck. The meteor fist imprint carried terrifying power. As soon as it came into contact with the physical body, it destroyed the body and shattered all bones. Then, blood rained down everywhere. Out of the dozen or so transcendent grade barbarians, only a third managed to react in time and dodge. The remaining transcendent grade barbarians went to see their ancestors immediately. They were deader than dead. Card +12. A notification flashed past. Su Jingxing's eyes flashed as he continued to punch and kill the remaining transcendent grade barbarians. Let's go. Spread out. The remaining transcendent grade barbarians cried out in alarm and hurriedly landed, escaping back into the temples. Boom! The meteor fist imprint descended above the temple and collided with a 3-layer blood energy barrier, creating circles of ripples that dispersed the sea of clouds, revealing a towering building. But soon, with a bang, the blood energy barrier shattered and disappeared. The meteor fist imprint continued downwards and struck the temple. Boom! There was an earth-shattering bang. The majestic temple instantly exploded and disintegrated, turning into ruins. Countless rocks and dust flew everywhere, stirring up the sea of clouds. Ah! Run, run! This human is a primordial spirit, a primordial spirit. How could this be, how could this be? How could another primordial spirit appear among humans? Where are the supreme ones? Where are they? The barbarians' terrified cries resounded through the clouds. Miserable screams sounded from a certain corner from time to time. The huge temple shattered. More than half of the barbarians inside instantly died. Although the remaining ones were still alive, they were severely injured and were lying in the ruins, howling non-stop. However, the barbarian gods did not appear. It seemed like they were not in the temples. Su Jingxing used his soul power to sense for a moment. After confirming that the barbarian gods were not around, he turned around and left. Before leaving, he circulated 100 years of spiritual essence cultivation and threw a punch. Boom! With a shocking bang, the ruined temple disappeared from the clouds. Half of the 10,000-meter-tall mountain peak below was also sliced off. Countless rocks, mixed with dust, scattered in the air. Su Jingxing really wanted to know where the barbarian gods had gone. Circulating the 6 comets records, he deduced that they were not in the boundless mountain range, but in the southern wilderness. What are the barbarian gods doing in the southern wilderness? Puzzled, Su Jingxing thought for a moment and moved to another barbarian gathering location. Swish! Swish! Whoosh! He flew across the air and arrived in the blink of an eye. In a new barbarian gathering spot, Su Jingxing did the same. Without saying a word, he struck out with his palm and destroyed the buildings below. Stop! Who? A figure flew up from below and shouted in unnatural human language. A long saber condensed from blood energy rose from below to meet the palm imprint. Unfortunately. Boom! The palm imprint continued downwards, and the blood energy saber instantly collapsed and disappeared. The figure that charged forward also exploded under the palm imprint, causing blood to rain down. Boom! The ground shook and dust filled the air. Under the palm imprint, all the barbarians in the area were killed, and all the buildings were reduced to rubble. Stop! Another stiff shout in human language sounded. Su Jingxing turned his head and looked at a 5-meter-tall barbarian on a mountain on his right. Thick blood energy fluctuations rippled through the air. Transcendent grade. You're not escaping. Su Jingxing stared at the transcendent grade barbarian and asked coolly. Escape? The transcendent grade barbarian smiled sadly. You're about to wipe out the barbarian race, where can I escape to? Oh. Su Jingxing wore a faint smile. Then what are you trying to do by shouting, stop? Just to say a few words to me and let the other barbarians live for a few more minutes. No, my intuition tells me that you're looking for our supreme ones. A strange expression appeared on the transcendent grade barbarian's hideous face. You are here for the Unation, right? So what if I am and so what if I'm not? Su Jingxing replied coolly. Looks like it. The transcendent grade barbarian smiled wryly. The Unation actually has an expert like you. If I'm not wrong, you're not a primordial spirit, but an existence above that realm, right? Cut the crap. Where are your barbarian gods? Su Jingxing did not respond and shouted coldly. Ha ha ha. The transcendent grade barbarian laughed out loud. Someone in this world has actually achieved the realm above the primordial spirit. Ha ha ha. The supreme ones aren't here. The transcendent grade barbarian suddenly stopped laughing. It stared at Su Jingxing and said in a deep voice, all of our supreme ones are not around. You can speak to me if you need anything. Especially regarding the invasion of the Unation, I know everything. Is that so? Su Jingxing raised his eyebrows and said calmly, then tell me, why did barbarians invade the Unation? For blood sacrifice for the blood imprisonment tower. The transcendent grade barbarian quickly replied, the Xianin sect among you humans came to our supreme ones and delivered a treasure that has been passed down since ancient times, the blood imprisonment tower. Because this treasure is dormant, it requires the sacrifice of fresh blood of living beings to be reactivated. It possesses the power to strengthen and stimulate one's bloodline. If we can grasp this power, our race will possess the combat strength of our ancestors. The Panguang battle race? Su Jingxing narrowed his eyes and sensed the soul fluctuations of the transcendent grade barbarian. You know about them? The transcendent grade barbarian's pupils constricted as it glared at him. You actually know that our ancestor was from the Panguang battle race? You also inherited an ancient bloodline. How I know has nothing to do with you, said Su Jingxing coolly. You barbarians agreed to invade the Unation just because the Xianin sect gifted you the blood imprisonment tower? Yes. The transcendent grade barbarian's breathing quickened. The best blood to sacrifice to the blood imprisonment tower is that of humans. Invading the Unation and massacring the humans in a few large cities will fulfill the requirements of the blood sacrifice. Of course we agreed to such a request. Why wouldn't we? Pack. A crisp sound suddenly sounded. Su Jingxing condensed his energy into a palm and slapped the transcendent-grade barbarian in the face. Before the barbarian could react, its huge body fell from the sky. With a bang, it crashed into a mountain peak on the ground and collapsed half of it. Amidst the billowing dust, Su Jingxing slowly walked through the air and arrived at the center of the collapsed mountain. He looked down at the transcendent-grade barbarian lying in the pit and said calmly, "Lie again and I'll take your life." Ha ha ha. The transcendent-grade barbarian vomited blood and laughed out loud. Not bad, not bad. An existence above the primordial spirit realm is indeed powerful. You immediately sensed it as soon as I opened my mouth. Yes, I lied a little. Boom. Energy erupted and a baneful aura surged. The transcendent-grade barbarian stood up from the bottom of the pit and soared into the air again. After all, it was a barbarian and in the transcendent grade. Su Jingxing did not go overboard. The injuries on the transcendent-grade barbarian were not fatal. He, I've experienced the punishment for lying. Don't worry, I won't lie anymore. The transcendent-grade barbarian laughed strangely. The Xianin sect naturally didn't give the blood imprisonment tower for free. This is because the blood imprisonment tower is damaged and half of its control is in the hands of the Xianin sect. Their request is very simple. After the blood imprisonment tower is reactivated, the Xianin sect also wants to control the power of the blood imprisonment tower. We will take turns every half a year. For example, the barbarians will use the blood imprisonment tower in the first half and the Xianin sect in the second half. Su Jingxing replied coolly. Yes. The transcendent-grade barbarian said in a low voice, because half of the control of the blood imprisonment tower is with the Xianin sect, we naturally won't agree to it easily. Although we did invade the Unation later on, we didn't launch a full-scale attack. We only launched 3 charges in front of the Sunset Cliff. Just like that, we even lost a supreme one. It was killed by the Unation's martial sage. After that, we retreated into the mountains and never went out again. Before long, we received news that the Xianin sect had been wiped out. The Supreme Ones quickly reacted and went overseas to search for the ruins of the Xianin sect, preparing to find the other half of the control of the blood imprisonment tower that was in the hands of the Xianin sect. The other Supreme Ones have also gone to other places to avoid the revenge of the Unation's martial sage. Yes, you didn't hear wrongly. We are prepared for retaliation. But as long as the Supreme Ones are still around, there is hope for the revival of the Panguang battle race. Su Jingxing said nothing as he scanned the transcendent-grade barbarians. From time to time, he would sense abnormal feedback from the other party's words. But most of the time, it was good and stable. What did this mean? This meant that the words of this 5-meter-tall transcendent-grade barbarian were still not completely true. Instead, they were half-truths. How much was real and how much was fake, no one but it knew. Su Jingxing could kill it with one palm strike, but by doing so, he would have no way of learning the true secret. For this, he suppressed the killing intent in his heart and said calmly, "Don't you fear death?" "Of course I do. Who in this world isn't afraid of death?" The transcendent-grade barbarian sneered. "But will that solve the problem?" "No. Since it can't, you can do whatever you want. For example, if you want to kill me, can I escape?" "No." Heh. Su Jingxing also laughed. "You're interesting. Alright, tell me where the blood imprisonment tower is. Don't tell me that your Supreme Ones also took it away and hid it. If that's really the case, won't you wipe out our entire race?" The transcendent-grade barbarian grinned. "Although we were prepared to be wiped out, if there's a chance to live, who would be willing to die?" The Supreme Ones didn't take the Blood Imprisonment Tower away. It was left in the temple. They said that this Blood Prison Tower is specially meant to be gifted to the U Nation's martial sage as an apology. I didn't expect you to come instead of the U Nation's martial sage. Above the primordial spirit, are you the master of the U Nation's martial sage? Why are you barbarians also so gossipy? Asked Su Jingxing calmly. Bring me to the Blood Imprisonment Tower. I can consider not wiping the barbarians as long as you never leave the boundless mountain range. All right. When the Transcendent Grade Barbarian heard this, it said excitedly, I can agree now that the barbarians will never leave the boundless mountain range. Lead the way, said Su Jingxing in a low voice. Understood, understood. The Transcendent Grade Barbarian squeezed out a smile. This way, please. The temple holding the Blood Imprisonment Tower is west of the mountain range. With that, the Transcendent Grade Barbarian flew ahead at a moderate speed. Speed up, ordered Su Jingxing coldly as he followed behind. Got it. The Transcendent Grade Barbarian immediately sped up and streaked across the sky. Swoosh! Swoosh! The Transcendent Grade Barbarian was in front, and Su Jingxing was behind. The two of them crossed mountain peaks and traversed the boundless mountain range from the east to the west. Until they arrived at the peak of a 10,000-meter tall mountain that was barren without a single plant, and in a magnificent temple built above. Swoosh! Swoosh! They landed one after another. It's inside. As the Transcendent Grade Barbarian introduced while walking, this temple was established the earliest. It was left behind by our ancestors. Although the interior is a little dilapidated, there's no lack of everything that should be there. Among them are the arena, fighting platform, the blood sacrificial chamber, and so on. The description by the Transcendent Grade Barbarian was very detailed. Su Jingxing's heart skipped a beat. He had a bad feeling. He circulated the 6 comets records to deduce. He suppressed his bad feeling and divined for good and ill luck. It turned out to be great fortune. This was interesting. There was definitely certain danger in being brought here. But in the end, the danger would be resolved, and Su Jingxing would benefit greatly. Su Jingxing had no choice but to cooperate. As he walked, he listened to the introduction of the Transcendent Grade Barbarian and looked at the walls on his left and right. On the stone walls, there were murals that were cracked and falling off. Some were statues of barbarians, humans, and other races. They entered a long, dark corridor that led underground. Su Jingxing listened quietly the entire time. He observed his surroundings and finally walked into a blood-colored underground space. Boom! Suddenly, there was a loud bang. Above the entrance of the underground space, a huge stone slab descended from the sky and blocked the way out. Buzz buzz buzz. At the same time, the underground space shook and blood-colored mist spread. Everywhere it passed, a real scene that had been covered up was exposed to Su Jingxing's eyes. This was actually a massive blood domain space. It was more than 10 times larger than the underground cave with walls he had seen previously. An alternate space. A secret realm. A small world. Su Jingxing looked around, inch by inch. He saw mountains, rivers, sky, and land. All these scenes had one thing in common, and that was that they were covered in a layer of blood-red color. The Transcendent Grade Barbarian who led Su Jingxing here had escaped to a black mountain peak that was hundreds of meters tall and filled with rocks. It stood on the peak and laughed loudly at Su Jingxing. Ha ha ha, above the primordial spirit realm? Is such an existence in the human race so stupid? With just a few words, you were fooled into following me here. Ha ha ha, old fellow, no matter who you are, since you're here, don't dream of leaving again. By the way, I forgot to tell you. I did not lie. This is the Blood Imprisonment Tower. You didn't hear wrongly. This blood domain space is inside the Blood Imprisonment Tower. Also, the blood domain space is very special. It can suppress realms. It's already great if you can unleash 10% of your strength here. Ha ha ha. Bang! With an explosion, the transcendent-grade barbarian who was laughing loudly suddenly exploded into a bloody mist, splattering flesh all over the ground. Su Jingxing stepped in the air and moved slightly closer to the corpse. He extracted a card. Then, he looked around and stopped at a pool that looked like a dense blood pool. He said calmly, "Get out. It must be uncomfortable to be holding your breath down there, isn't it? And over there, it's not nice to hide in a rock, is it?" Su Jingxing's gaze landed on a 100-meter tall slope. With that, he shifted his gaze and stopped at a crack in the ground. He chuckled. "It's worse for this person. It's been hard on you to be stuck in the crack." Silence. Silence. As soon as Su Jingxing finished speaking, there was no sound in the sky or ground. It was as if Su Jingxing was talking to thin air. Su Jingxing was not in a hurry. He looked around and spun on the spot. After a while. Boom! A burly figure suddenly rushed out of the cracked crack. Whoosh! Immediately after, a tall figure rushed out of the blood-colored pool. Boom! The 100-meter tall slope exploded, and a muscular figure stepped out. 3 figures, each more than 10 meters tall, with bulging muscles, violent auras, and dense baneful aura. 6 eyes filled with killing intent were fixed on Su Jingxing. "Why are you looking at me like that? I wasn't the one who trapped you guys here." Su Jingxing ignored the gazes of the 3 barbarian gods and spoke calmly. Silence. Silence again. A moment later, one of the barbarian gods said in a low voice, "Do you know what's going on here? You knew from the beginning that you had been tricked, but you still deliberately came in here." Something like that. Su Jingxing retracted his gaze and said calmly, "If I'm not mistaken, this blood imprisonment space has long trapped you. Even if the entrance you came in through is open, you can't leave, right? This is a conspiracy by the Xianin sect. Tu Anbang lied to us." The barbarian god that came from the pool shouted angrily. Tu Anbang died too early. It was too easy on him. The eyes of the barbarian god that emerged from the crack were spitting fire. "We can't leave, and neither can you." The barbarian god that came out from the slope didn't complain or get angry. It looked at Su Jingxing and grinned. "With a human expert above the primordial spirit realm accompanying us. Even if we're trapped here, we can die worthy deaths. Are you sure?" Su Jingxing raised his eyebrows. "Are you sure I can't leave?" The gaze of the barbarian god from the slope froze for a moment before it sneered. "Why? You're indignant. Fine, if you're indignant or worried, you can give it a try and see if you can leave. Thank you for the reminder, but there's no need." Su Jingxing chuckled and said calmly, "It's no longer important whether I can leave the internal space of this blood imprisonment tower or not." "What do you mean?" asked the barbarian god from the crack in a low voice. Su Jingxing ignored him. His previous divination result was great fortune. Su Jingxing had been guessing what benefits there were. After entering the blood imprisonment space and sensing that the 3 barbarian gods were trapped here, Su Jingxing suddenly realized what this great fortune referred to. It was also at this moment that he thought of a countermeasure, a perfect countermeasure to turn bad luck into good. Refining the blood imprisonment tower. Control this rare treasure that the Xianin patriarch had inherited from somewhere. Although the blood imprisonment tower was damaged and needed to be repaired and reactivated, it was precisely because it was damaged that it was convenient for Su Jingxing to refine and subdue. If such a spatial treasure was in good condition, it would basically have an artifact spirit. With an artifact spirit, it would be extremely difficult for Su Jingxing to refine it. Now, all Su Jingxing needed was a domain card. That's right, Su Jingxing had decided what attributes to add to the domain card. Blood imprisonment space attribute. Simply put, it was to add the ability of the domain card to the damaged blood imprisonment tower and forcefully annex it with the power of the domain, forcefully refining it and leaving Su Jingxing's soul imprint on it. The entire process was neither dangerous nor difficult. Although after the blood imprisonment tower was refined, it still had to be repaired and reactivated. Now that the blood imprisonment tower was in Su Jingxing's hands, he could change the target required for the required blood sacrifice. Human blood has the best effects. Perhaps it made sense, but it was not absolute. Su Jingxing didn't believe that the blood of barbarians would be ineffective. It was merely because the blood imprisonment tower was in the hands of the barbarians that they had targeted humans as a blood sacrifice. When the blood imprisonment tower becomes Su Jingxing's possession, his target would naturally be the barbarians. Since ancient times, barbarians had been the mortal enemies of humans. Countless humans had died in the hands of barbarians. Su Jingxing felt absolutely no psychological burden in using the barbarians' blood to refine the blood imprisonment tower. The three barbarian gods didn't know about this, and Su Jingxing didn't intend to tell them either. Boom! 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 Without any warning, 3 palm imprints appeared out of thin air and descended on the heads of the 3 barbarian gods. You! Bang! 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 Before they could say a word, their bodies exploded, and blood and flesh splattered all over the ground. Card +3. Under the firmament Nirvana palm, a mere barbarian god could be killed instantly. Su Jingxing released his perception and scanned the entire space. He then soared into the air and slowly floated away. In the void world, the Essence Soul opened its soul space and took out 3 cards to read the information. Bloodline card, memory card, skill card. The cards extracted from the 3 barbarian gods were all different. As expected, the bloodline card contained Panguang battle blood. However, the density was more than 10% higher than what Su Jingxing had extracted previously. The skill card was a blood escape secret ability. As the description suggested, it was a secret ability that allowed one to travel, escape, and search. Using blood, one could chase for 10,000 miles. Wherever there was fresh blood from a living creature, one could employ the skill. The memory card contained half of the memories of a barbarian god named Balangtu. Beginning from when it was the strongest warrior in its tribe to being killed by Su Jingxing. The second half of Balangtu's life could be considered to be legendary. After all, to become a barbarian god, talent, opportunities, diligence, and comprehension were all required. Su Jingxing's Essence Soul unlocked the card and checked the other party's memories. Scenes flashed through its mind. Then, the Essence Soul learned the way for barbarians to become stronger. It was actually completed through a blood sacrifice. The higher the realm, the more living beings would be sacrificed. Wild beasts, mutated beasts, barbarians, humans, and even other races, as long as they were made of flesh and blood, could provide energy for barbarians to break through. To put it bluntly, every barbarian god had slaughtered tens of millions of people. The blood on their hands could dye a huge river red. 30% of the living beings sacrificed in the latter half of Balangtu's life came from barbarians, 30% from beasts, 30% from foreign species, and the remaining was from humans. It was easy to understand the numbers for the barbarians. There were as many as billions of barbarians in the boundless mountain range. They would also fight and kill each other from time to seize treasures, women, and to annex tribes. Originally, there was no need to do this. They could just kill humans. However, it was no longer easy to attack the human countries. They could only deal with their own people. Therefore, the fate of low-level barbarians was actually no different from piglets that were raised. One batch was slaughtered and another batch was raised again. The barbarian gods were high and mighty. They did not feel anything about how many barbarians on the bottom rung had died. Much less needed to be said about the beasts. There were countless ferocious beasts in the boundless mountain range. Some were even specially tamed. As for the other species, they came from the dark north and the southern wilderness. Through the memories of Belangtu, this was the first time Su Jingxing had seen the other races living in the southern wilderness and the dark north. Some of them were produced by mutations after humans entered, while others were left behind from ancient times like the winged ones. Every other species was very powerful. The barbarian gods did not dare to enter the human countries, afraid that they would be targeted by Pei Donglai. They could only turn their gazes to the other races. From this perspective, Pei Donglai had contributed greatly to humanity. Alone, he made sure that the barbarian gods did not dare to enter the various countries for 100 years. However, this was referring to the eastern continent. The barbarians would still invade countries in the western continent from time to time, but they were all small-scale. Occasionally, they would ambush and massacre a functional town before running back to the boundless mountain range. Belangtu had done this many times. He had even massacred a small city. The martial sages of the western continent could not do anything to it at all. When they were chasing after Belangtu, they were almost killed by him. In the entire western continent, only the strongest expert in the primordial spirit realm could make Belangtu wary. And only wary, unlike Pei Donglai, who made Belangtu fearful. When Tu Anbang from the Xianin sect approached Belangtu and company, Belangtu had planned to take this opportunity to kill Tu Anbang. Unexpectedly, Tu Anbang decisively brought out the Blood Imprisonment Tower, which happened to appear in the legends of the barbarians. This rare treasure could make the entire barbarian race stronger and turn them into a battle race. In their excitement, the three barbarian gods agreed to Tu Anbang's deal to invade the U-Nation. However, it wasn't that big at the beginning. They were only planning to send out a few thousand barbarians to put on an act so as to be able to account to Tu Anbang. In the end, Tu Anbang pulled some tricks, or perhaps he had sensed the condition of the Blood Imprisonment Tower from the start and left behind a hidden hand. After the three barbarian gods entered the internal space of the Blood Imprisonment Tower, they could not leave. Being damaged, there was no way out of this blood imprisonment space. Belangtu was dumbfounded. The three barbarian gods were extremely furious and wanted to forcefully break open the blood imprisonment space. However, their strengths and realms were suppressed in the space. No matter how indignant and angry they were, it was useless. They could only wait for the transcendent grade barbarians outside to sense that something was wrong and come down to check on the situation to send out the news not to enter the blood imprisonment space. If they wanted to leave, the only solution was to activate the entire blood imprisonment tower through a blood sacrifice. That was why the barbarians invaded the U-Nation on a large scale and prepared to use the blood energy from the battle to activate the blood imprisonment tower. Su Jingxing had repeatedly investigated the uniqueness of the blood imprisonment tower through Belangtu. At this moment, he knew everything clearly. Three of them could even save Su Jingxing a lot of trouble. It was a great motivation for Su Jingxing to unlock the domain card and annex the blood imprisonment tower. At the very end of Belangtu's memories was the three barbarian gods communicating telepathically, wanting to catch Su Jingxing off guard. Unfortunately, as his consciousness returned, Su Jingxing took out the domain card and unlocked it. An invisible force first centered around Su Jingxing. Then, it expanded in seconds and spread to every corner of the blood imprisonment space until it devoured the entire blood imprisonment tower. Without another word, Su Jingxing circulated his soul power and sent his consciousness deep into the source of the blood imprisonment tower's abilities to find the target imprint. He then left a soul imprint on the mark to control this treasure. This process took quite some time. It took 2 days and 1 night before it was finally completed. After completely subduing the blood imprisonment tower, Su Jingxing immediately sensed that this tower was not simple. There was actually more than one blood imprisonment space. Or rather, the blood imprisonment tower was more like an arena tower, and a prison tower. Small spaces were separated from one another. Of course, now that these small spaces were gone, the function of the damaged blood imprisonment tower was incomplete. The large internal space that Su Jingxing was in right now was the center of the tower. If the tower was in good condition, a duel between experts could begin in this space. Su Jingxing did some careful calculations. The center space of the Blood Imprisonment Tower could withstand the needs of martial artists below the Cloud Ascension realm. There was no need to worry about their power being too strong and destroying the space. This was because the central space could suppress one's realm and weaken their strength. This discovery was surprising to Su Jingxing. Swoosh! He released the cosmic tower from his soul space and willed Ming to appear. Ming, can this space be connected to divine refinement on the second level of cosmic? Su Jingxing scanned the center space of the Blood Imprisonment Tower and asked. Please wait a moment, Master. Ming replied respectfully. As soon as it finished speaking, its translucent body swayed and an invisible force seeped into every corner of the space. Moments later, Ming returned to normal and replied, Master, it can be connected. Really? Su Jingxing's face was full of smiles. If we connect them together, doesn't that mean that those people don't have to enter the second level of the cosmic? No, Ming shook its head. The people meant for divine refinement still have to enter the second level. What do you mean? Su Jingxing was puzzled. Didn't you say that the two spaces can be connected? Yes, explained Ming patiently. The second level of cosmic can indeed be connected to this place, but that doesn't mean that divine refinement can be done here. This is because the divine refinement is an ability of the second level of cosmic, but not here. The uniqueness of the divine refinement space is dozens of times more outstanding than this space. Alright. Su Jingxing shook his head and sighed. I thought I could just do divine refinement here. Although divine refinement can't be done, soul transformation in this space is still possible, Ming added. I know. Su Jingxing's eyes flickered. Soul transformation could indeed take place in the blood imprisonment, although the effects could not compare to that in cosmic. This could effectively help the cosmic resolve some matters. The help to Su Jingxing was almost visible to the naked eye. Of course, the blood imprisonment tower had to be reactivated and revived with a blood sacrifice for that. Now that Su Jingxing had grasped the ability of this damaged tower, he realized that the fastest way to repair the blood imprisonment tower was to absorb special bloodlines. Just like the Thunderbolt sword back then, absorb special blood. Back then, Su Jingxing had used the Shi family's bloodline to repair the Thunderbolt sword. This time, Su Jingxing also had a goal in mind for the repair of the blood imprisonment tower. Panguang Battle Blood. He now had more than 1,300 bloodline cards extracted from barbarians. Su Jingxing had always kept them as a backup. In the end, they really turned out to be useful. The Panguang Battle Blood was much stronger than the Shi family's bloodline. Su Jingxing had also stored up enough bloodline cards. Of course, he would only know if they were enough when he unlocked them. With this in mind, Su Jingxing put away the cosmic tower and took out the bloodline cards containing the Panguang Battle Blood. He unlocked them one by one and added them to the blood imprisonment tower's space. Swish. 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 Under the stimulation of the bloodline card, the faint lights quickly reacted. Su Jingxing did not interfere. He only needed to sense carefully from the side and he would be able to sense the damage done to the blood imprisonment tower and start repairing it. Immediately, he took out more bloodline cards. 30, 50, 80, 100, 300, 500. 1,000 cards. 1,200 cards. When all the bloodline cards containing the Panguang Battle Blood were almost used up, the blood imprisonment tower that had been silent for countless years erupted with light and soared into the sky. Swoosh! At this moment, Su Jingxing also left the blood imprisonment space, broke the temple, and arrived in the air. Swish! The blood-colored pillar of light wrapped around the blood imprisonment tower and left the ground. It passed through the temple and floated in the air. A boundless and terrifying pressure spread in all directions with Su Jingxing as the center. Everywhere it passed, be it barbarians or mutated beasts, countless birds, beasts, and insects were all lying on the ground, trembling in fear. Boom! At the top of the sky, large clouds rolled over and descended. The destructive intent from the world was transmitted clearly into Su Jingxing's mind. Tribulation Transcendence. The intact blood imprisonment tower was actually suppressed by the invisible consciousness of Earth Star and was to be destroyed by the lightning tribulation.